video with them.
Okay, cool. I have commenced recording.
Awesome. Can you guys see everything okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Yep. Throughout this presentation, feel free to interrupt me at any point in time if any questions come to mind. But simply to get started, this is going to be the home or the landing page for all your virtual attendees attending this event. How they get access to this page is pretty simple. Once registration is handled on the back end of the system, all you have to do is send them an email announcement, which will contain a link for them to create their login credentials. So like any other website, an email and a password. Event's going to be accessible on the browser-based version we're taking a look at today, as well as through our mobile application. And for demonstration purposes, this is all boring WHOVA branded, but of course for your event, you guys can customize the name, the dates, the logos, the colors, the sponsor banners if you happen to have any, and the material on the homepage to fit the aesthetic you're going for. The left-hand side is the main navigation and how your attendees filter throughout the various parts offered at your event. Just to let you guys know ahead of time, posters all the way down to exhibitors. These 5 buttons are going to be optional add-ons. If purchased, they'll be there. If not, they'll be removed. For the purposes of this demo, I'm only going to highlight very briefly sponsors and exhibitors. Is networking something that's going to be essential for this particular event?
Can you define networking?
So essentially what this feature entails is kind of a speed dating feature virtually. Just wanted to see if that's something you think you'd implement to this actual event, or if you've done this maybe before in years past.
Is that like breakout rooms kind of?
No, so breakout rooms will be within the agenda list. So that's where you host all the breakout rooms. This feature right here is an optional add-on. It essentially just allows your attendees to network with a bunch of people. I can explain this very briefly if you guys would like me to.
Yeah, when we get down to it, yeah, put it down below the main stuff.
Okay. So moving on to the agenda. It's actually very easy for your attendees to find the various sessions you will be offering for this online event. Your attendees have a couple of options in terms of finding the sessions they'd like to watch. The first one being utilizing the search bar, and then they can also filter out by track. So if there are different types of sessions or categories that you are offering for your attendees, they can filter it this way and find the ones that they're interested in. And the final method is simply just scrolling down and finding the session at the time that it's listed. Each attendee is allowed to also have their own personalized agenda, so they can add it. And we are integrated with Google and Outlook Calendar just to help remind them when the actual session is. When actually clicking into a session, this is actually what it will entail. So at this point in time, what you guys happen to know virtually, are most of your sessions looking to be live stream, or are you guys primarily focused on pre-recorded content to be available to your attendees?
Not a big focus on pre-recorded content. It'll be live people giving presentations or smaller discussion groups where everybody gets to talk and contribute.
Gotcha. So I'll primarily just focus on the live streaming. So I don't know if you remember this on the last demonstration, but we typically recommend clients use Zoom as a live streaming service, simply because it's the most integrated one within our system, allowing your attendees to watch everything within the WHOVA platform without actually having to go to the native Zoom app. But we're also integrated with YouTube Live and Vimeo as well, just in case you'd like to use those services instead.
Okay, we would plan to use Zoom on the back end.
Okay, perfect. Right-hand side is very straightforward, so I'm going to breeze through this particular part, but your attendees have the options to type and submit, view all question and answers. For each session, you are allowed to have up to 5 live polls just to increase the interaction. Chat's very straightforward. And community board button on the top right is one of the best places for your attendees to group network. So just to be honest, this button, it's exactly the same as the one you see on the left-hand side. The left-hand side really just offers you a bigger display. But to give you a quick preview, it is one of the best places to group network. And reason being is simply because within WHOVA, we do recommend opening up event access about a week or 2 prior to the actual start of the event. Reason is to give your attendees a chance to get acclimated to the environment. And then what they can do and what you can do is auto-populate different discussion topics and groups related to your event, where the example I'll be clicking on is first-year PhD students, and these students can start talking here prior, during, as well as after the event date, just because we do keep event content and access to the material up to 3 months after the last day of the event.
Sounds really good. I think those community interest groups would be heavily utilized by our audience.
Perfect. Yeah, so this is at least this most part is all included within the standard price. So this will all be available for your attendees to use prior, during, and after.
Great.
And then this button right here is an optional add-on. I'm actually not too sure if this is something you need to implement for your particular event. But if you wanted some customizable feedback forms for each of your sessions, this is something you can purchase and implement.
Yes, very, very understandable.
And then finally, just view speaker information. Sponsors can sponsor specific sessions, upload a description, and finally just upload handouts or documents for attendees to download to view the material.
Downloading documents, that's pretty sweet.
And then just for the last part for the user, this box follows them around. So if they're good multitaskers, they can watch the live stream and then potentially view the attendees list simultaneously.
I didn't really follow that. I don't know, was that important?
Oh, no, not really. It's just if your attendees want to watch the live stream at the same time and maybe view the attendee list, that box will follow them around.
Okay.
The attendees list is where you'll find all different registered attendees for this particular event. In terms of actually uploading content for the profile, what they can upload does include a picture, bio, interests, maybe link their social media accounts. So if one-to-one networking is important, all you have to do is click send message, keep track of all messages on the left, and then choose to chat or one-to-one video network with that attendee internally within WHOVA.
Quick question, Nathan.
Yes,
Can
sir.
people opt out of that sharing their personal profile if they want? Not that I would do that, but I think that might be something people would be interested in.
Yeah, so what you can do is on the mobile application, there is a way to hide their profile. So you just toggle the profile visibility off. At the moment, that's not available on the web application,
Okay,
but
thanks.
because it's included within the same place, you just do it there and you wouldn't be able to find anyone here.
Cool.
Community board, as mentioned, this is just a bigger display I was discussing, but this right-hand side is another tool your attendees can use to have face-to-face networking. So typically, just based on other clients, I've seen this used for things such as virtual happy hours, virtual coffee breaks, sometimes smaller discussion groups, but really you guys can utilize this tool to whatever you see fit. You'll simply just fill out the information, and within the community board, WHOVA does have its own internal virtual meeting room. So if you utilize WHOVA's internal tool, you have a limit of up to 30 people per room interacting face-to-face. Click submit, view all scheduled meetups on the right-hand side.
Was a regular old attendee empowered to initiate that sort of thing?
Yes, sir. So
Okay.
this is the attendee view. So everyone is allowed to suggest their own meetups as well as suggest their own topics if they want to interact about other things.
Cool. Okay, cool.
The network table. So this is the optional add-on I was discussing. And the best way to kind of visualize this feature is simply just to think of speed dating. So typically that just entails you and one other person. And every 5 minutes or so, it's going to randomly shuffle with the people in attendance. Virtually, you can replicate that and instead have tables set between 2, 3, and 4. Change the shuffling time potentially to be 1 minute, 5, 10, 15. Where all you do as an attendee is hop into this, interact with a bunch of people. It's going to keep shuffling. And once the networking portion is over, each attendee receives a listing of all the different attendee profiles they met. That way they can see who they talked to and reach out to them after the fact. Final two things, just very briefly going to go over our sponsors and exhibitors, as these aren't really too important for your event. But for your sponsors, they are allowed to have their own individual profiles. You can tier them. They can upload a video to highlight their company, contact information, upload handouts, chat with attendees on the right, and finally just link their website to the banner ads on the top right.
Okay.
Finally, exhibitors. The difference between sponsors and exhibitors is your exhibitors have a gallery view right here, which you can tier as well. And then for them, we actually provide a lead generation tool. So if that part's important for your exhibitors, what they'll actually do here is, besides just having the video or implementing a live streaming link to interact with attendees in real time, when scrolling down, your attendees can actually fill the deals and offers and promotional offers button to generate leads. So once they click send, your exhibitors will receive a listing that they can then extract after the fact and then market their material perhaps after WHOVA, after the event date or outside of WHOVA. And then just finally have multiple booth staff members to make themselves a little bit more accessible.
So while we're on the topic of attendee view, the this is just a random question. The user satisfaction on like a laptop browser versus the mobile app, what kind of feedback do you get about that? Like, in other words, once somebody hears, hey, there's a WHOVA app, does everybody flock to that and make that their home, or is it really just based on the person?
It's really just based on the person. Typically for virtual events, most people do prefer the laptop or desktop view just because it's a bigger display. But sometimes if conferences tend to run long, let's say 8 or 9 hour days, people don't really like to be cooped up within their house the entire time. So what they'll do is maybe after the first couple of sessions, go to their mobile phone, then go outside and watch the sessions outside. But typically virtually, the laptop and desktop is the preferred method for most people.
Thank you.
And before I get into the back end of the system, as I believe that's probably where most of your questions lie, are there any questions on the front end or the attendee's perspective I can help clarify while here?
I don't think so.
Awesome. So as moving on into the back end of the system, this is actually what we call the WHOVA dashboard, how you set up everything on both the mobile application as well as the web application. In terms of setup, I'm only going to be walking you through some of the basics today. But ironically enough, I'm not going to be walking you through this tab just because it's very easy information. It's just event name, start and date, number of attendees, hybrid event or virtual. Branding Center at the moment is what you can do to customize the look of the platform. So the options you have at the moment are just changing the header color, previewing the mobile app, uploading your header images, your logo, and preview the web application as well. The agenda, which is going to house most of your content, you actually have two different ways to upload the material. Both ways are actually super easy, but the way that I typically recommend is using Excel, just because you'll go into the agenda tab, click import from Excel, and then WHOVA provides you a downloadable template. It's formatted. The only boxes that I ask you to fill out will simply be the session name, time, speaker name, and then the URL link of the live stream. So in this case, the Zoom live streaming link.
Oh, cool.
Upload import. Within the system, it'll be formatted to look like this. But if for some reason you hate Excel and despise spreadsheets, then option number 2 is just uploading everything manually. But even then, it's just plug and play. So title, date, time, description, add your polls. This is where you would copy and paste the Zoom link that you guys own, save, and then you're done. If pre-recorded was something you would like to look into, then I typically recommend YouTube and Vimeo just because you can copy and paste the URL link here and we're integrated with them. The final option is just uploading directly into the WHOVA cloud. The only reason I recommend this method is just because within the standard price, we do only give you 3 gigs of free video storage. Every extra 5 is $80. But this method doesn't take into account the gigabyte storage space. So you guys could save some money here if you wanted to make some pre-recordeds available to your attendees after the event.
Gotcha.
Final couple of things under the event content tab is Speaker Center. So I'm assuming you'll have multiple speakers at this event. So if you wanted to make your lives as organized as a little bit easier, you can actually collect information from them because all you have to do is check mark off the information you'd like your speakers to upload. So right-hand side is mandatory, left-hand side is optional. You'll filter through this, decide the information that is needed of your speakers, and then just upload all their names and emails via this Excel template because we provide a template for everything. Or you can do it manually and then just check mark off all the speakers you'd like to email them all or individually. And then WHOVA already provides you an email template to send out to them. So all your speakers would do is receive this form, fill out the information that you checked off on the previous page, and the minute they click submit, it's going to auto-populate their profile right here. For the organizers, we also have multiple tutorials for you as well. So if you need any help in terms of setting up your live stream, attendee access, pre-recorded, things of that nature, these videos walk you step by step how to set up everything on the WHOVA dashboard. And then we've also created guides for your speakers and attendees, just in case some of them may not be as tech savvy. So within here, we actually have guides, and within the guides, they have a video and a textual one just to help walk them through how to log in and navigate the day of the event. And just in case you need more resources, we've actually had other customers go out of their own way to create their own collection of guides, so you have access to all these resources as well. Final two things I'll be going over, just sending out announcements and then registration. So in order to remind your attendees when specific sessions are, you can actually utilize this tool to remind them. So within here, you can actually categorize your attendees on who receives that specific announcement, fill out these boxes, and then customize the message completely to your liking, where the message can be sent via email or a push notification on the mobile app. And then just to make it automated, I would recommend scheduling these all ahead of time, so the day of the event, you're not constantly drafting them. And then finally, for this event, do you guys already have a website up to help market this, or is that something that's in the cards for you guys?
We have a website where we market our events.
Okay. So if you'd like to use WHOVA's registration, what you can do is create all the ticket tabs within here. So I see that it's going to be a paid event, but can I assume it's just going to be one paid general admission ticket, or are you guys having different ticket types?
You can assume one general admission type thing. Yeah.
Okay, so it'll be
But wait, maybe not. If we have a separate price, say for a second person in the home, then you got two different prices there.
Yeah, that's true.
And then
So,
the
Nathan?
speakers are free, the main speakers.
okay.
Yep, so my team corrected me. We have a modest number of ticket types.
And for those multiple ticket types, were you guys looking to limit access, or is everyone just going to have access to the entire event, no matter which ticket type they purchase?
it's access to the whole event. It's just, if you have more than one person in a family registering, then it's a reduced price for the next person or for a child.
Okay.
At a reduced price, that's all.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That just helps me see what I should go over in regards to tickets, so I know to skip over one of the things that I always typically go over. But what you can do here is also just customize the question and forms that are asked of your attendees and choose what's mandatory, optional, as well as add your own custom questions just in case there is some data you wanted to collect from them. And then finally, once they finish that registration process, and I'll give you a quick look of what this looks like for the attendees. So on your website that you already have, you can actually just copy and paste this URL, post this on your website so attendees can actually have access to the registration page on your website. And then they would actually all be uploaded under the attendees list. So in real time, you can see how many people have signed up for your event. And typically that's usually all I go over on the dashboard. So what I'm going to do is, I know I gave you trial access, I believe last time, Troy, but I'll give you access again to another trial version if you wanted to hop in, test this out with your colleagues and preview how things look on the web app and mobile app. As within the trial version of the dashboard, you can actually have up to 10 admins. So whichever colleagues were interested in maybe previewing the application to see if it's feasible, feel free to add them as well.
Understood. We'll tell you later if that's something we're wanting.
Okay, no worries. So usually the last part of this call, I do get into pricing, but are there any questions about the dashboard before getting into that?
I have a real quick question, Nathan. As far as the list of registrants afterwards, is that a downloadable file as like a CSV for a mailing list afterwards?
Yes, sir. So you'll just go here and export attendees into an Excel file.
Cool. And along those lines, is there a shopping cart abandonment report of any way, like people who came to the registration page and didn't purchase?
At the moment, no. So the only people
Okay.
you would see are the people that actually registered.
Cool, thanks.
I have a question as well. And the question is about the session management add-on,
Yes, sir.
the optional thing. Can you just give a brief overview of the features that would offer? Because we may be interested in, say, capping the number of registrants for a particular session to like 30 to keep crowds controlled.
Yes. So within that add-on, it primarily just focuses on session cap and ticket session mapping right here. So ticket session mapping, the reason I asked if you were looking to limit access for your specific ticket types is simply because this add-on, which comes with session attendance management, is used primarily for that. So the best way to think about this is, let's just say you had a basic ticket, general admission ticket, and a VIP ticket. You can assign specific sessions to be viewed by that ticket holder. So VIP sessions only to the VIP ticket holders, and then general admission ticket holders just have access to the general admission sessions. So that's one feature that is included with the session attendance management. The second one is session cap. So I'll just be honest with you. Typically, this feature is primarily used for in-person events, because within the mobile application, which I believe was primarily some of the questions you asked me via email, Troy, what you can do is set the session cap. And on the mobile application, you are allowed to enroll in these sessions. And once it reaches that certain limit, people can no longer enroll in that session after the fact. However, virtually, just being transparent, even though you do set a 100 mark here, because it is a virtual one, attendees are still going to be able to get into the Zoom meeting link that you embed through the WHOVA platform past this enrollment one right here. So this primarily is used for the in-person one. So it'll say capped at 100, but just I know from experience, it's not really going to cap at 100 unless you decide to set a password on the Zoom meeting link and only let those certain amount of people in, which does require a lot of manual labor. So
Yes, it is.
I would just say that's pretty much what session attendance management does entail, at least for virtual events.
Okay, good to know.
Yes, sir. Any other last minute questions before getting into the pricing? Okay. If any questions come to mind, feel free to email me as well, and I'll do my best to get you your answers as soon as possible. So what I'll do is get you the most accurate quote that I can at the moment. So I personally like to be transparent, so I'll walk you through our internal tool we use to come up with your quotation.
Okay.
So within WHOVA, WHOVA does charge on a per event basis, as well as the amount of attendees you expect at your event. So I believe in the notes here, you guys are going to be only up to the 500 limit mark. And the standard package entails the web app, the mobile app, community board, agenda, messages, home tab, etc. With the only additional features you may need, I guess just based on your initial email, you might not need any of them. And then for this event, I'm assuming, is this for a nonprofit organization perhaps?
Yes, it is.
I can actually get you 20% off this price then. And then the rest of the features are just optional add-ons. So what I'll do is take a quick pause right here, see if there's any features that may stand out or any ones that you have questions for. But if not, then your quote would simply just be the standard price with the discount.
Looks about right. Like
Okay.
like your disclaimer about the session cap for virtual events not really enforcing itself
Yeah.
pretty much takes me out of the interest in that tool. And then, the only one I was kind of interested in last year was the session specific feedback add-on. Because for us to be, when we sent out our Survey Monkey last year, we asked like 20 large questions and none of them were about the specific sessions. We just asked for general convention feedback. So I don't really know where the team stands on, how much we really want to get feedback regarding each individual session. I think it would be modestly helpful, to learn how this person did, or that's how useful this content was. But what's the cost? What's the cost on session specific feedback add-on?
Yeah, so it's $300 US for unlimited feedback forms. So however many sessions you have, that's how many feedback forms you're going to have.
I thought of something that we needed last year, which was the transcribing of
Oh yeah.
what people were saying.
Yeah, so we did that through Zoom, Nathan. So our audience, many of the audience members would benefit from seeing the words going across the screen rather than having their speaker on. So does WHOVA do anything beyond what Zoom does for transcription of words across the screen?
At the moment, no. So the most you would be able to do is enable closed captioning within Zoom.
Okay. So Polly, I think the answer is what we get in terms of closed captioning is what Zoom already offers. No less than what Zoom offers, but no more than what Zoom offers.
Yes, sir, that's correct. I guess just for this quote, should I exclude the session feedback for now then?
Let me just ask Cindy and Dr. Jaffe, what's your gut on whether we want session-specific feedback?
So I just want to make sure I understood this. On the session feedback, so that's for each individual session, it would be $300 per session. Is that correct?
No.
Or is it $300 total for all the sessions we do? I thought I heard per session.
No.
Yeah, so it's $300 for unlimited sessions. So however many sessions you guys implement, that's how many feedback forms you're going to get.
And that's not per day, that's for the entire event.
That's correct.
So for $300, I would probably say, let's do it and see how we like it and what we come up with. It may be that we look and say, oh, they didn't want to say anything before, but we're never asking this speaker back again. I don't know.
Okay, so Nathan, why don't you go ahead and include it, because it would have value and I don't think it would break the bank.
Okay, perfect. So I know that you don't need any of these other additional add-ons. So if this was the package that you built out, the price you'd be paying is $1,579 US. Excuse me. So what I'll do is send you over this quote. And of course, you guys have a lot of time, so you guys can always change up the package if you'd like at a later time. I know the event's not slated to be till October, but would you maybe have a decision-making timeline in mind just so I can follow up at an appropriate time?
Yeah, I would say that we want to make our decision on platforms and stuff in the next 1 to 2 weeks. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, that way we can literally get going.
I was gonna say a month, but that's fine.
Okay, so what I'll do is follow up maybe latter end of April, because that will be in a month's time.
Okay.
And just see if you have any questions or updates, and then we can always just go from there. And see if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Thanks, Nathan.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sure. All right,
Oh, I did have one more question.
yeah. Go ahead.
Once we have chosen you and we're, getting set up, do we have the possibility of getting in touch with you or someone at WHOVA for, ongoing questions? Just
So if you happen to move forward with WHOVA, I actually introduce you to our customer success team. So once that is done, one of our representatives reaches out and offers you and your team a training and onboarding call. So if you guys had any questions in terms of setting up the dashboard or to your event and things of that nature, you can always reach out to that rep that offered you training for any questions you may have after the fact.
thank you.
Yeah, nice.
Any other last minute questions before I let you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, I think? Yeah.
Oh yeah, actually, one more question.
Yeah.
During the actual event, if we have problems, technical problems, whatever, are you guys available on hand if it's something beyond us, it's something to do with the platform?
Yeah, so if you'd like any help the day of the event, should you run into any technical issues or your attendees or your speakers, you can call or email our WHOVA support team and they'll be able to help out you right away. One way to help mitigate technical issues, at least what I usually recommend, is under the event content and under this tab right here, the virtual and hybrid center, you actually have a feature titled the rehearsal session feature. So about a week or two prior to the actual event date, you and your speakers can actually do a dry run of the session utilizing the Zoom link just to make sure there actually are no technical issues, to make sure everything runs seamlessly the day of the event.
Thank you.
Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm sorry, my voice is a little bit hoarse today, but hopefully you guys can hear me too well and my voice isn't too low.
We could hear you throughout our demo.
Perfect. Any other last minute questions that may have come to mind while kind of talking about all this? No, I guess I'll take the silence as a no, but if any questions come up, feel free to let me know. I'll get you guys information of the quote, reach out to you sometime in April, and then we'll just go from there.
Perfect. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your
Great,
day.
thank you. See the
Thank
rest of you
you.
later.
Bye, guys.
Thanks so
Bye.
much.